Hey guys, back and sticking with that whole foundation and concealer in one thing. I'm now moving on to the Clinique. It's called Beyond Perfecting Foundation Plus Concealer product. Again, I'm going to have the price listed above. Now, it's different from the Stila one in that the concealer is not in a separate compartment of the packaging. It's all supposed to be built into one. This is also 100% fragrance free for those who have issues with fragrances. Not that I noticed any scent in particular with the others, but yeah, but this one is fragrance free, and it's been, tested, and they say that it lasts, I think this was the one that's 12 hours. If I don't put a correction on screen, then this is the one that says that it will last for about 12 hours. The other thing that they mentioned is that, and it has like a doe foot applicator. This is the bottle. Kind of does its like little suction cup sound as you're pulling it out, and it looks much like a lipstick doe foot applicator. And they claim with one dip on this wand you should be able to do your full coverage for your face, your full application. And so I'm sorry, I just dipped it in multiple times, but let me just put it in, take it out, and whatever is on that one applicator, let's see how far we get. One thing I can tell you off the bat is that of all the foundations that you're going to see in this video, this one was the feeling of it is most like peanut butter, because I like to go for the foundations that kind of look like peanut butter, because that, even if I don't test it in store, that typically is one that matches me. And this one is in the shade, sorry I didn't say it, this one is amber. This is not the darkest shade they have. I think clove or clover is the next shade up, and I think, and that's just on the Sephora site, and I think they have a couple more. Anyway, so this one, it's not that it feels heavy once it sets on your face. It's that when you put it on, you will see that this one feels more like peanut butter. And like, when you're trying to spread peanut butter over bread, how it, like, there's a thickness to it. It's not like the consistency of spreading butter. There's a heaviness to the peanut butter. In a similar fashion, this feels heavier, thicker, and it takes more effort to spread it around your face. But again, when it sets, it feels to me as lightweight as some of the others. Not necessarily the Nars one. That one feels super light, but it feels light. It's not like, oh, I have this foundation on my face. It doesn't do that. It doesn't feel like that. And they claim that this won't clog your pores. And I believe this is another one that with continued use, they feel you should see some improvement in your skin. Okay, so here we go. One wand. Let's see how far we go. I'm going to start with this dark spot. We'll pat that in later. I'm just going to see how far around my face I can get this product. Now see, this is just with one swipe I'm able to, get some foundation. And this is not even me going up to the top right here. This is just me using really what's on this section of the applicator. So I'm going to see how much how this works. So now I'm going to officially put it back in just for the purpose of securing it. I'm going to use a new clean sponge, and let's get to applying. And again, this is the one where it feels more like peanut butter. Just to spread it about is a bit more of a process. You got to put a little more work into it than for some of the others that I'd shown you, which were really super creamy and just spreadable. So yeah, I'm just applying this right now, and I can tell you, I don't believe, two things I'm going to have to tell you about this one. One, is that I already mentioned the combination oily skin thing, but this one, it says on the back of the box about matte, natural matte finish. Okay. Yes, I think it gives you a natural matte finish. I've worn this, and at times people have not known that I had on anything. Okay, so that's one thing to note. The other is, I remember very clearly that I did like my noonday check to see when I had this on at work, just to see, let's check that spot. Okay, so I checked it around noon one day, and it's like my skin wanted to do its oily thing, but this almost prevented it. And again, no setting powder or anything. I saw a little droplet of oil, which it didn't run down my face, it didn't spread, it was like suspended between the foundation like on my forehead. It was like right there, so I didn't even have to use like a blotting sheet on the whole thing. I literally just put the blotting sheet to that droplet of oil and it came onto the paper. So it really does, it's like forms a barrier again without it feeling heavy. It forms a barrier on your face against oil, so it really does try to give you matte coverage. So look at that, doesn't that look normal? Or like, yeah, I like this one in terms of being excuse me, in terms of being more of a natural look on the face. However, and let me just say right here, I'm gonna go back over this, because this one I have noticed with some of the dark spots that I've had when I've used this one, you really can get that coverage that you want over your spots with, and that was one little secondary application again of it on the dark spot only. That's really what I was concerned with. And look at that, it's I think it looks better than it did with some of the other ones upon my second application, because if I were to go in again, which I can do for the sake of YouTube, and I didn't do it necessarily all over my face again, but let me go in with a little more, and I'm gonna just wipe some off because I don't need that whole thing there. Alright, so let me do that. Do you see it? Like, you can still see it, but I feel like the coverage is so much better. Is it me? And this is good because through the power of YouTube, maybe my perception of some of these foundations, you know, I want to hear you guys' comments too to see what you think. But I think that one does a good job of like covering it. So anyway, so yeah, so that's one thing that it like holds my oil back. So this one does claim to be a matte, an aid in keeping you looking more matte. So there we go, and I did find that it was trying to block that oil from seeping through, so that was nice. And again, it's more of a natural finish, I do believe. However, it's a natural finish, but I always feel, and this is just an issue with shade, I always feel compelled when I'm wearing this one to put on blush, because I feel like it's my skin if I had no hyperpigmentation or anything anywhere, but the death version of me. So I feel like I need to always put on like a blush or something to make it have some pop. Whereas like I said with the Nars one, that shade, it has like a little extra pop or something to it. This I don't think has a pop. It's just kind of flat. Boom. Alright, there's another one that I'm gonna show you. Like even this one, sorry, the Stilla one matches me, but I don't feel like it matches me in depth. It doesn't look like my skin in depth. It has like some life to it. This one, I don't know that the shade necessarily has life, but the shade above, Clove, was too dark. So yeah, but I like that it covers. This foundation I think is a nice one in terms of repurchasing this one again. This one is not necessarily going to get the repurchase from me either, but it's better than this one by far. So scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I would repurchase it, I would say this one is like at an 8.5, because it really does, I like how it can cover the spots and it can make me look almost like I'm not wearing anything. But the reason why is for the spot coverage, why this one got the 0.5 bump up over the other one that I gave an 8, because of the coverage. So yeah, I feel like you need less of it to cover more, whereas with the Nars one I feel like you need more to cover. So there we go with that, even though I like the finish of the Nars one much better than this one. Okay, that wasn't all over the place, but yeah. So yeah, there we go. See, you can still see it, right? Because I see these two side-by-side dark spots, but to me they don't look as like bad. This is what I would use if I just want like a light, not light, a medium coverage of some, I'm sorry, it's just itching at the top, I'm not like picking or anything. If you want like a medium to even a heavier, because you can go full for sure with this, coverage of dark spots, yeah, I like it. It's just the shade issue that makes me feel like I need to add on a blush or something else. But yeah, so this is it. So boom, dark spot, boom, and front view. So there we go. Right. So not as glowy as the other ones. This is just kind of the stripped down version of my face, I think. Okay, last one coming up. I'm back with the fourth foundation. This one comes from Estee Lauder. This is the Double Wear Stay in Place foundation. This one promises 15 hours of wear time. It does not come with the pump that people love, but for me, I just pour it out and it's fine. I got this one in the shade Rich Chestnut, so that's 5C1. And yeah, so I'm going to apply this one. Now, I can already tell you, this one really does last a long time on your face. I can't say that I've tested it for 15 hours, but certainly throughout the day, and it gives you like I've never used like a setting powder with this one, not even for the purposes of testing, because this one gives you a pretty matte coverage, and I, again, am super oily in the T-zone. Now, what it has done is, it's not to say that by the end of the workday, by the time I arrive home, that there's zero oil on my face, that none of it was able to penetrate this foundation. Yes, absolutely. I've done some blotting with the blotting sheet towards the end of the day, but it certainly lasts in a matte form much longer than some of the other foundations. Sorry, I'm doing the nose thing. It's water from when I just washed my face this time. But anyway. So it lasts much longer with that matte finish than some of the other foundations that I've already shown in this video. In fact, than all of the foundations that I've shown you in this video. This is not the best matte foundation I've ever used in life, but if we're combining all the factors, because I think the best or one of the best in terms of keeping my skin matte like all day, it's that Becca Ever Matte or something it's called, that matte foundation. But remember, I had an issue with what I call that halo of ash, where I thought I sometimes kind of look a little ashy in it. This one, I don't look ashy in it, but it doesn't stay as well on my skin in matte form as that Becca one does. Okay. So yeah, you know, it's a give and take with some of these foundations. So here we go. I have my final clean sponge, and these sponges, as I will mention when I do that makeup show video, can be washed. I'm just using a new one just for the sake of consistency in this video, so I'm not using some sponges that are wet, some that are dry. Anyway, I'm going to pour some out, just starting with this much. Is that a lot? I don't know. So let's see, get some around here. And yeah, this foundation lasts, it really does, a good long time, and I think you get nice coverage from it as well. Let me just close that up as I apply it. Nice coverage. One thing that I didn't speak about yet with all of these foundations is in terms of going into your fine lines and wrinkles and how does it settle on your face. And really, for the most part, I think they're all relatively good. I don't, there's not one in this of the four that I've just used that made me say like, oh my goodness, look how it's settling here or there. If they all seem to do pretty well. If anything, that Nars one, which is super light, I have to make sure that under here, right here, that it really is blended in well. Otherwise, a little settling can happen, but again, it's very little, and it's just a matter of whether or not I rubbed it in. If I rub it in well, then I don't have that issue. If I have not, then I can see that issue, especially when my oils start popping. But anyway, let's check in on dark spot. Okay, so you see it there, but do you feel, maybe I'm wrong, that just on the first pass, this one has a bit more coverage than some of the ones that I've already reviewed? We'll see. But now I'm just going to put a little more on this sponge, because now, again, we are looking for coverage, right? Oh, that was maybe too much. I'm going to have to spread that about. But yeah, this one does stay all day. I don't feel like it goes into fine lines or anything like this. You don't necessarily get a glow from this one, again, because it's really a matte type of thing. Let's look right here. It is buildable, even if you wanted to put layer on top of layer. You look at that. That coverage may be the best out of all of them so far, right? Because I am on application number 2. So here we go. And you can judge for yourself, but I'm just putting this on. You can see. And some of these, and I'll put this on screen too during the editing process, claim to be humidity proof. I believe the Clinique one was one. Well, I don't want to say which one was which yet, because I'll put that on screen because I don't exactly remember, but some claim to be humidity proof, and I disagree. This one, I don't remember if it says it's humidity proof, but look at that. And again, you could go over that one more time, just that little spot lightly, and I think that would cover rather well. And I know because I've done it. Yeah, good stuff. So here we go. So this is the Estee Lauder. How's this finish look to you guys? All right, so I'll do boom, front, boom, boom. And this was the side with the hyperpigmentation right here. All right, so yeah, I like this one too. Now, in terms of, you know, the shade is just going to be for each person to decide which one will work best for them. I can also mention that recently, and that's not a part of this video, because recently I picked up the MAC waterproof foundation in NW45. It's my first ever MAC foundation in terms of looking like skin. Perfect. Coverage, maybe not so much initially, and I know it's not listed as like a full coverage one, but I just thought I'd throw that out there. But I love the finish of it. And again, for certain ones, if you're not trying to do any type of coverage, you should be fine with quite a bit of these. If you don't have oily combination skin, then you should also be fine with many of these. If I had to say of all of these, which one would I repurchase, I can say if I needed something to really, really last a long time, I would likely turn to this one. If I just want that pop, and I know that I'm not going to, or I shouldn't put on foundation, moisturizer or anything like that, and I just want something that will never fail me, I can even put it on in the dark, and I know it's going to flow in with my skin well and not look heavy and feel lightweight, I'll likely go with this one. I really do like this one. If it's about spot coverage, but the reason why I say that is because yes, this can definitely do spot coverage and conceal certain areas, but the finish of this, even though I said it makes me look more casket ready, is that this shade is still, I think, how's that look to you? Like, it looks like both of these go slightly to the yellow side, and if they both had a bit more of the red, just a little bit more, then I think either of them would be neck and neck when it comes to spot coverage, really, because they're super close. But then this one lasts even longer, so maybe the heads up would go for this one for longevity and spot coverage, but this one is super close as well. This one I have absolutely no purpose for other than the fact of just finishing up the tube, the bottle of it, and then, you know, for super light days if I'm not trying to cover anything. And am I leaving out? Yeah, so those are the 4 foundations. I hope this review has been useful to some degree for you. If you have all of these or some of these, let me know your thoughts on them. Look, as that's drying. Look at that as it's drying. Can you see? I think that one has really good coverage, and again, stay all day. If I had to get only one of these, only one in the future, it would be, wow, okay, I think, okay, let me not be fair here. If I'm not trying to cover anything, this one, the Nars, because I just really like that pop that it gives my face, and because of how light it feels. If I am trying to cover something, though, because if I am trying to cover something and I don't want to use a setting powder, because this would require it if I'm really trying to have it last for many hours. So if I'm not trying to use a setting powder at all, just this, which one can stay all day, it would be neck and neck between these two. If I'm trying to cover absolutely nothing and I'm just putting it on for the sake of putting it on, but I want a little bit more of an, you know, overall consistency and skin tone, it would be this one. But I mean, I'm not purchasing this again because I can just put moisturizer on, and maybe I wouldn't have that overall, you know, harmonious skin tone look with just a moisturizer. But I would go to a tinted moisturizer or something else, because I really don't, this is okay. Super light and basic, but the others actually have some sort of purpose that they can serve in my life. And yeah, so that's my kind of take on these. I know this video was long, I can feel it, but I hope you all are well. This is the foundation video. Any questions that you may have, list them below and I will certainly answer them. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the new and old subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you. Bye.